I refused to postpone my wedding for my sisters, so my parents boycotted our big day, trashed all my things, and now my relatives are turning against them. I'm Morgan, 28 female, and apparently I'm now the disgrace of my family. But before you decide whose side you're on, just listen to everything that actually went down. So let me lay the groundwork first. My older sister's name is Peyton, 34F. She and I have never been what you'd call close. She's always felt more like an enemy who shared my house than a loving sibling. Peyton, along with her little group of friends, made my childhood pretty miserable. And the worst part? My parents, Carrie, 56F my mom, and Dave, 57M my dad, just let it all happen. They'd always take her side, leaving me constantly feeling like the odd one out, the black sheep. Anyway, Peyton's marriage imploded a few months ago and she ended up moving back home with our parents since she hasn't had a job in years. Not exactly my circus, since I'd kept my distance from all three of them. If I'm honest, I can't say I felt too sorry. Peyton's always been the golden child. She made straight A's, was homecoming queen, and generally did everything right. She basked in our parents' adoration while I was typecast as the wild, troublesome one because I dared to have an opinion, dyed my hair purple, and broke curfew. But the most brutal part was how Peyton treated me. She'd exclude me from everything, spread rumors about me at school, outright sabotage anything I was looking forward to, and shock. My parents just made excuses for her bullying. I still hear that's just how sisters are in my nightmares. As you can guess, by adulthood, I was used to feeling like the family's afterthought. I didn't crave their approval anymore. I just made my life with the people who truly cared. And then, last year, everything changed. My boyfriend Daniel, 31M, proposed. It was one of the happiest nights of my life. He and I have been together almost 4 years. We'd talked about getting married forever, and when he finally asked, I cried with happiness. Even though I wasn't exactly close with my parents or Peyton, I wanted to share the news, hoping maybe this milestone would finally bring us together. I dove into wedding planning, venues, flowers, caterers, you know the routine. I didn't even expect much family involvement. My circle was mostly good friends and a few relatives I actually like. But a few weeks after announcing my engagement, my mom called and said she had something serious to talk about. My first thought was honestly, what now? Peyton drama again? And I was right. I went over the next evening and barely sat down before my mom, Carrie, dropped the bombshell. She wanted me to postpone my wedding for 2 years. Her logic? Peyton's just gone through this painful divorce. She needs time to heal, meet someone new, and your wedding would make everything worse for her. At first I thought she was joking, but no, she was dead serious. She and my dad really expected me to put my life on hold, just to, what, protect Peyton from questions about her divorce at my wedding? I was stunned and honestly insulted. I asked how my life had anything to do with Peyton's dating timeline. My mom launched into her usual, we're a family, we support each other, monologue. But the truth is, those lines have always meant support Peyton Morgan, no matter what. I was so mad I just said this was insane and left. But Carrie wasn't done. She called every day for almost a week, pestering me to delay and piling on the guilt. She said, it's not just about Peyton, it's about family unity. How can you expect Peyton to show up and celebrate when she's dealing with all this pain? My dad, who usually avoids drama, even tried to reason with me, insisting Peyton was still too fragile and my wedding would just remind her of what she'd lost. All I kept thinking was, since when am I responsible for my sister's feelings? Am I seriously supposed to hit pause on my entire future for the sake of her reputation or comfort? After all these calls, I realized Peyton herself hadn't said a word to me. All this pressure was coming from mom and dad. Was Peyton even behind any of this, or were my parents projecting? I finally called Peyton myself, determined to cut through the secondhand guilt. At first, I tried to be calm, asking her straight up if she'd asked our parents to demand this. She admitted yes, she thought it would be better if I put off the wedding. Her reason? She didn't want to deal with relatives bombarding her with divorce questions on my big day. I said as gently as possible that the wedding really wasn't about her, and doubted anyone would be grilling her at an event where all eyes are on Daniel and me. But Peyton wouldn't hear it. She kept saying she wasn't emotionally ready, and that if I cared, I'd wait until she could handle seeing everyone again. The longer we talked, the more frustrated I got. She wanted my wedding to hinge on when she was ready for the spotlight. I finally told her this was not her call, The wedding was happening when planned, and if she or our parents didn't want to attend, that was their decision. Then I called Carrie and Dave and laid out the same message. I love you guys, but I'm not postponing anything. Support me or don't, but I'm getting married on our date. My mom burst out crying, saying I was destroying the family. And Peyton needed time to heal. But I wasn't moved. For once, I chose myself. The day of the wedding came, 3 weeks ago. Daniel and I got married, and it was beautiful, even though my parents didn't show. It was really hard walking down the aisle alone. I'd always pictured my dad by my side, but seeing Daniel's huge smile at the end made me realize this was about us and the life we wanted to start. My friends and relatives who love me were there, and that was enough. At the reception, things got tricky. Aunts, uncles, cousins all noticed my parents' absence. Eventually, questions poured in. Is everything okay? Where are Carrie and Dave? I tried to dodge at first, not wanting drama, but curiosity doesn't just disappear. I ended up explaining to a few aunts and cousins just how everything happened. I told them about my parents' demand, how they wanted me to stall my life for Peyton, and how they refused to come when I wouldn't go along. I didn't sugarcoat it. Their reactions? Mostly outrage and disbelief. I felt lighter finally being honest about years of being sidelined. And you know what happened? Word spread like wildfire. Other family members started reaching out, saying I'd done the right thing, that they'd had no idea I was treated like this. Some were mad on my behalf, others just shocked by how extreme my parents were being. Then something wild, my cousin Lacey, 27 female, who's getting married in a month, uninvited my parents from her wedding. She told me she didn't want that negativity at her big day. Part of me felt guilty, but another part felt more validated than I'd ever been in my life. After the wedding, Daniel and I went on our honeymoon, just the two of us, on a gorgeous beach. I barely looked at my phone. For the first time in forever, I just focused on the peace, quiet, and the man I love. I knew the storm would be waiting for me when we got back. Sure enough, when we returned, I checked my phone and found it overflowing with messages and nasty voicemails from my parents. A small selection, entitled Brat, Selfish, Tearing Us All Apart. My dad was just as bad, basically screaming at me for destroying the family. Blocking their numbers didn't help. They just switched to email, Facebook, then new phone numbers. Peyton herself started up too, writing me these long guilt trip messages about how I was cruel and chose Daniel over the family. It was like playing whack-a-mole with toxic relatives. I started to feel so overwhelmed. What are you even supposed to do? Every time I tried to detach and just enjoy my new life, they found a way to drag me back into their drama. Daniel was incredibly supportive, suggesting everything from getting a new number to going fully no contact, but there's that little voice in the back of my mind. They're still my family. Am I really the villain for shutting them out? But I know I can't live my whole life tiptoeing around people who only care about me when I'm sacrificing my happiness for Peyton's sake. My attempts to explain how much their behavior hurts me fell flat. All I got were more accusations. You're choosing your husband over your own family. You'll regret this when we're gone. Classic manipulation. I honestly don't think they'll ever see how they're hurting me. All they care about is control. Part of me wants to just erase them completely. The other part worries I'll regret it. But the truth is, I just want to move on. Reddit, what do I do? Has anyone here actually managed to get free of family like this? Did going no contact help? Or is there some magic middle ground I'm missing? It feels like they'll never let me go. Edit, Update 1. A bunch of you asked what it was like growing up in my family, and why things between me, my parents, and Peyton got this bad. Going back, it wasn't like one huge disaster happened. Instead, it was this slow build of emotional neglect, never feeling wanted, rarely getting praise, and always being told to put Peyton first. On paper, my childhood looked fine. Food on the table, school, vacations. But when it came to affection or real support, well, that wasn't part of their repertoire. Peyton was a pro at getting all the attention. If I brought home straight A's, it barely got a reaction. If Peyton so much as got a B or needed help, the world stopped. She'd mock me, enlist her friends to play mean pranks, and if I complained, my parents dismissed it. Oh, Morgan, it's just sister stuff. Don't be so sensitive. The worst was when I was 13. Peyton convinced me to let her and her friends give me a makeover. I just wanted to fit in. She painted my face like a clown, photographed me, and sent the pics around school. The next day, everyone laughed at me, and when I sobbed to my parents, they said, "It's only a joke, no punishment, just get over it." It was always like that. No matter what I went through, they acted like I was a nuisance or to blame. The message I got year after year: you only matter if you're Peyton, and everyone else is secondary. So when the wedding issue came up, it wasn't some new heartbreak. It was just the last straw. Decades of being second place, asked to step aside so Peyton could shine, led me to finally choose myself. I finally accepted that just because they're family doesn't mean I should tolerate endless disrespect. Now, with Daniel, I finally have a chance to create my own family, one where I feel loved and respected, for once in my life. Thanks for all your kind words and advice. It really does help a lot. Update 2. Hi again. A lot has happened since my last post. About a week after the honeymoon, my parents messaged me, basically demanding I get all my childhood stuff out of our house on Sunday. The tone was cold, but whatever, I was over it. So Daniel drove with me to pick everything up, but when we got there, I was stunned. My things were heaped all over the front lawn, like junk at a bad garage sale. Books, old toys, handmade crafts, stuffed animals from when I was a kid, just dumped out there, some of it already soaked and dirty. I could see the water stains on favorite photo albums and keepsakes. It was like they wanted me to know I was no longer part of their lives. Part of me was shaking with fury, but honestly, I think that's what they wanted, a blow-up. Instead, I just quietly asked Daniel to help me load it all up. No knocking on their door, no yelling. We just worked in silence. As we finished, a strange peace washed over me. I realized this was the final cut. They'd kicked me out of their world for real, and rather than heartbreak, I felt almost relieved. Finally, the guilt and drama were over. Update 3. It's been a few months, but I had to come back with this wild twist. Remember my devastated sister Peyton? The one who said she needed 2 whole years to work through her divorce before she could witness a wedding? Well, surprise. She's getting married next week. How did I find out? Not from Peyton or my parents, they've completely cut me off. But from a cousin, Jen, 29F, who sent me a screenshot of Peyton's engagement post. There she was, beaming with her new fiancé, throwing everything from last year out the window. Am I mad? No, it's so absurd, all I can do is laugh. No one in my old family circles reached out. No invite, no announcement. But honestly, I'm good. It's official. They've written me off, and it turns out that's mutual. For the first time ever, I feel like I've moved on. My life with Daniel is happy, and all that old drama just feels like another world. Thanks, Reddit, for listening and for always having my back. That brings this story to a close. It seems like Morgan's experience is a classic case of deep-rooted family favoritism and emotional neglect, which she eventually chose to break free from, even at the price of completely losing contact with her family of origin. Her story shows that sometimes setting boundaries and choosing yourself is the only way out of a toxic cycle, even when our culture insists family is everything. Here is a question for you. Have you ever had to stand up to family pressure at the risk of losing them entirely? Would you choose yourself or try to stay in the fold no matter what? Let me know in the comments.